Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Media Literacy number 7. And today's lesson is going to be about media evaluation. Misinformation and fake news, whether intentional or accidental, have become real issues lately among adults and youngsters. This real global problem doesn't seem to go away anytime soon, and media literacy education is trying to rectify this phenomenon. Now, just to be clear, we are not trying to bash the media. On the contrary, there is so much useful information media can provide on the internet in particular. But since anyone nowadays can create media like websites, blogs, ads, news, and more, it is very important and crucial to evaluate messages of all media publishing if you want to rely on the information you are consuming. So as I have been emphasizing since the beginning of this course, we are going to have to do some deep inquiring into the sources of the content we're receiving and sharing according to the following questions and criteria. Is the information really relevant to what one is searches? Is it accurate and documented? Is it objective or biased, reliable and trustworthy? Is it balanced and fair? Is it current or outdated? And finally, does the content include complete important information, or was it omitted on purpose by the creator? Let's look at each of these questions separately. First, relevance. Is the information relevant to the topic in question, or does it veer off into other topics? Does it match the time and place, age group, culture? Here's a mini case study. Before the internet, journalists delivered local news that was relevant to their local consumers, covering their current events, interests, needs, and various important issues. Well, until advertisers, news conglomerates, took over local papers and stations, they cut on the ground reporters and syndicated content from news services and started focusing on profitable, coverage. The news became less relevant, needless to say, to their readers' dismay, who turned to the internet to find what was relevant to them. So when evaluating media, ask yourself whether or not the information you are navigating is relevant to you. Does the creator try to present you with something totally different from your inquiry for a reason, or is it written poorly? Next is accuracy. Are the claims in the article verifiable? Try to find out whether the information is true and correct. So for example, we can ask something like, is the image fabricated or authentic? How credible is the authority, meaning their creator? Is the news report genuine or advertising in disguise? Was it sufficiently analyzed and checked for accuracy? Did the creators really understand the topic they presented? What empirical evidence was used to confirm the accuracy of the message? Social media is notorious for fake news and misinformation and dissemination. According to an NPR report from January 13, 2019, Princeton and New York University found that older Americans are more likely to share dubious news than their younger counterparts. In another study, only 25% of school children were able to tell advertising in disguise from real news. Well, obviously, evidence cannot be closely related to or slightly different from the source. It really has to be the source. It has to be true. If not, that can totally have negative effects on the public trust, let alone bring about social, political, legal, and financial consequences. We will elaborate on how to spot accurate information on the internet when we learn how to create media. And we believe that when you know how to construct media information, you will know how to deconstruct others with the same tools. What else? We need to find out whether the messages we are getting or looking at while researching are biased. In other words, subjective. Are the stories twisted to serve a purpose of some influencing groups? Films, plays, and songs, for example, are often used to transmit selective information. News of different networks do the same. Different mediums can cover the same story according to their agenda. Media owners, stance, um, and advertising who often can manipulate information to fit their financial goals. They determine the content of the information and whether it represents opinions or facts. Um, Look for manipulated content that support the creator way of thinking, either politically or financially. In addition, pay attention to techniques like voiceover narration, framing, and lighting that can be used to shape particular point of view. Special attention should also be paid to whether different points of view are offered or only one side of the story is depicted and promoted. Once we establish that, we're going to check if the media we're evaluating is reliable. Um, can we trust that piece of information? Can we believe what the source is telling us? Is it transparent? Um, can we trace the information? Unfortunately, surveys show a great decline in public trust in journalism and news in the past 25 years. How can you tell reliable sources from fake? Well, let's take, for example, articles presented as scientific information. How would you know they are reliable? You should know that to be a qualified quality and reliable source that can be used in research for academic purposes, articles should be peer reviewed, published, cite authorities in the field, as well as solid references of reputable writers and research centers. Uh, Material should also be backed up by empirical evidence, if applicable. This is an example of media that will be deemed reliable. The same is true for news networks, commercial organizations, newspapers, websites, and so forth. Is the information current and up to date? Timeliness matters, especially when selecting sources like the daily news, research, and healthcare system. Though old information has its place and importance, current content can be more valuable to us media consumers. Also to the news networks, to science research centers, and technology organizations, um, more than the old, outdated information. When seeking to select a credible source of information, one needs to find out when that article or news or study or websites originally written, copyrighted, published, etc. That definitely adds to the media credibility. So if you are, for example, looking for the latest guidelines pertaining to the coronavirus, and the information you're looking at is dated 4 months earlier, it might be inaccurate on or inaccurate, that's the right thing, since new guidelines might have changed or been added. When evaluating content for fairness and balance, and um, one should ask, is the information in front of me balanced and fair? Is the information fair to facts, or trying to satisfy and support soliciting groups who have a hidden agenda? Are all elements involved giving a fair amount of attention and taken into consideration? Okay, does the message include the complete picture, not only the small portion of it, where some was omitted? Who are the gatekeepers here? And do they represent all social and cultural groups? Do they cover all occurrences need to be covered, or only the ones that serve their interests? Well, when evaluating content of information, one should ask, was this content edited to deviate from its original? Um, was this image manipulated to present part of what the creator wants you to see? This article, this news report, what happens before or after? Well, partial information can be misleading to consumers who will not be able to fully, properly, and accurately understand and take an honest stance towards the reported or shared information. Um, Completeness of picture is as necessary um, as accuracy when creating factual pieces of media. Misinformation is prevalent online, but you are totally in control of sorting out facts from fictions. Searching for accurate, valued information that is transparent and credible, choosing your networks, news networks, newspapers, and other communication outlets like educational YouTube videos or Facebook space, among others. You're always free to say, um, that's not for me, that's not accurate, I'm staying, I'm leaving. Um, Leave the site, change the channel, or the programs of that radio stations um, that do not seem credible to you. Especially now with the election campaigns that voters are bombarded with advertisements, flyers, internet memes, online posts, and other images and articles related to the candidates, you must participate in media literacy skills and practice them as many times as possible, um, especially when you consume media. Credible media can empower us. It can give us peace of mind and a sense of confidence that can be accomplished through strong educated media evaluation. And one more important thing, never share any information that you have not 100% verified to be true. And please do share the skills that you learned in media literacy with your family and friends. Eventually, we will beat misuse and abuse of information uh, in the media. That is all for today. Um, Today's lesson. Our next lesson is going to be about creating media, which I think is a lot of fun. Until next time, have a good one.